In this video, I'm going to show you how I've maintained the shotgun mic on my DSLR to get really good audio and added a mega rechargeable battery for hours and hours of video recording. So these are the batteries that I typically use, and this is just a closer look. These are a couple of knockoffs that work pretty good. Wasabi power, powered by Wasabi. This is my original Canon battery. This is the power bank, and the trick here with this build is that you need to get a power bank that has 9-volt output. So this guy has output here and a toggle switch on the side right here that you can toggle between 9-volt and 12-volt output. To power up your Canon Rebel, you've got to have the 9-volt output. Now, I have also tried some other power banks. This is a really nice big power bank, but the problem with this guy is that the output is all 5-volt. So 5-volt output with this baby, and all via USB. This is a 9-volt output power bank. I picked this guy up, and it has, if you can see here, capacity of output 9 volts at 1.8 amps. Little power banks like this just do not have 9-volt power output. This is the XT power bank. I don't think this power bank is probably the best one you can get, but it's one of the only ones I could find with 9-volt output. It also comes with a few adapters, and you don't need all of these by any means, but you will need an adapter to actually go from your power bank to your camera. Alright, the next thing you need is a dummy battery. Again, I will put a link in the description to this. As you can see, it looks a lot like a regular battery. So it's shaped just like these batteries. It's meant to mimic the battery but allow you to plug in. I'll show you here how this works. You get your battery slot here. Click it in, and then it's nice. These Canon Rebels have this little rubber flap that you probably never noticed before. Little rubber flap that allow you, when you close the door, to have a cord sticking out. So that's where you're going to take that cord and you're going to plug that into your power bank. Alright, now the trick with this setup is that you need to have room on the top of your camera for your microphone and under your camera for your battery. And the way to do that is with a slider like this. Again, I'll put a link in the description to this slider, but it's a pretty basic little unit. One more thing you need on top of your slider, you need to get one more base mount. And this is a nice base mount because all you do is just click it in and it locks your camera in place and then locks back out. I'll put a link to this base mount. I think it was like $6. Super cheap. The slider also not expensive. So click this guy in place, and I've got my plug sticking out, and I still need to go one more adapter. This is actually the plug that came with the battery. And then my battery just plugs into the output. You want to plug in the output right here, make sure it's cycled over to 9 volts, and to power up the camera, if you had a regular battery in here, you would just flip it on and the camera would come on. But in this case, you actually need to activate your battery and then flip the camera on, and you are good to go, especially if you take the lens cap off. The next thing to do, obviously, is just to mount the battery in place. It's going to go right here under the lens, which is really sweet. And from that point, I can still access my zoom, no problem, autofocus, turn my image stabilizer on and off, etc. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is just apply a strip of gaffer's tape to the battery to hold it down to the slider. Again, you could do this with Velcro if you wanted to. But I kind of like gaffer's tape because it's easy to take on and off and doesn't leave any sticky residue. And then the last thing I'll do is just tie up this cord so it's not dangling too much. Alright, so that's the full setup of my 10, 12, 15 hour video battery. If I need to take it off the base, I can take the whole rig with me. Shoot video like this. It's definitely heavier with this big old rechargeable battery, but the trade-offs are pretty sweet. It means never having to switch batteries out. The added weight actually works a little bit like a Steadicam. It's not a full Steadicam, but it's actually pretty comfortable to hold underneath, and I think does add just a little bit of added stability. So that is how I have improved my DSLR for video. Immeasurably, I think, with this one rechargeable battery. It is a pretty sweet setup. Power up the battery, camera comes to life, and it's ready to go shooting lots of video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious if others have managed to integrate a large rechargeable battery and maintain the shotgun mic for video.